All right, mods and admins, this is a little reason why the show was a little start, because Jennifer and I went rogue this afternoon. There were so many news stories to cover. I was like, let's start Malcontented Minutes tonight. And by the way, that name came from our team. So thank you so much for that. We just tweaked it a tiny little bit up. Let me explain to you what Malcontented Minutes is. We have a timer. We should have a timer. Oh, that's right. Timer doesn't show on this screen. We have a timer. There we go. There, now you can see the timer. If I flip it over on the Jennifer screen, you can also see the timer is running there. And I just need to turn the timer off and we'll flip it back. 60 seconds. I get 60 seconds to tell a story. Then Jennifer and I get 60 seconds to talk about it. Then Jennifer gets 60 seconds to tell a story. And we've got 60 seconds to talk about it. 10 stories. Jennifer, are we ready to do this?
Hell yeah. Let's do it.
All right, I've got story number 1. So let's go ahead and, this is all untested macros. Let's see what happens. So with that, let me flip over to me. We'll start the timer. Here we go. Story 1 takes us to Lawrence, South Carolina. Jennifer, Lawrence used to be the home of the nation's only Ku Klux Klan museum. The former segregated movie theater was called the Redneck Shop and was a meeting place for white nationalists and full of racist memorabilia. Reagan Freeman has raised over $375,000 to document the struggles of Black Reverend David Kennedy to win over the hearts and minds of the Klan members, even as they contemplated killing Kennedy. No association to the Kennedys. The Redneck Shop is being converted into a museum and a place for where BIPOC can meet while raising awareness of racism. And it is called the Echo Project. And guess what? I did that in under 60 seconds, Jennifer. So it's your time now to go ahead and talk about it.
So I think that's particularly interesting. And I like the idea of this reclaiming these very racist spaces and doing something positive with them in the context of BIPOC people. I think that's a really good kind of an affront to racism, which I totally dig. And I think that's a really good kind of example for moving forward with things like, what do we do with Confederate statues for those who are like, we need to keep them because it's history? No, you put them somewhere and then you talk about them, about how they came to be and what they represented. They don't need to be out in the open and be these kind of these things people idolize and valorize. You put them somewhere and talk about them. So I am totally down with that. I think that is a fantastic kind of good thing to happen.
It's a great story. It's a story that I really like. Don't worry, the timer's still running, Malcontent. You'll hear the buzzer. It's a great story. It's a story I love because it's BIPOC, it's history. It's just like, this one just checks all the boxes for me. And with that, Jennifer, I think we're going to turn it over to you in story number 2.
All right. So the Chinook Nation might be paid for land seized in the 1850s. The U.S. Department of Interior will have to reassess its decision to deny the Chinook Indian Nation the small sum it awarded 50 years ago for the vast territory surrounding the lower Columbia River, where their oral history says they have always lived. In 1970, the Indian Claims Commission awarded $48,000, which is really small and pretty common for the Indian Claims Commission, to the lower band of Chinook and Clatsop Indians, 2 of the 5 tribes that make up the Chinook Indian Nation today. The government put the money in a trust account where it has stayed, growing interest to the tune of over $500,000. The Chinook people have actually never seen a dime of that money. So the possibility that they will potentially get some money for the land that was taken from them is a really great thing. Now, if they could just get federal recognition back, they were given it briefly during the Clinton administration, then it was revoked by Bush.
There's your time.
Yep.
All right, so now it's my turn to respond to it. Okay. This is great news. This is a story that just checks all the boxes for me. There are so many tribes in the country that are not recognized by the federal government and have, quite frankly, been completely fucked over.
This is right.
And to hear this story about potential recognition, getting their money. It's a shame they can't get some of their land back. I mean, that real estate in the Pacific Northwest isn't exactly cheap, Jennifer. So,
And just for clarity, this isn't about recognition. That's just kind of my personal suggestion. But I think it's important too that we not talk about Native peoples as tribes, even if they're not federally recognized. We acknowledge them as nations because they are inherently sovereign nations that existed prior to Euro-American contact.
And I appreciate you reminding me of that very, very much. And with that, I am going to move on into the next story, which is story number 3. Story number 3 takes us to Florida, Jennifer. This is our weird, wacky story. A very unlikely name in Florida man zone, and that is Phil Collins. No, that Phil Collins is Florida man. He is in a bizarro divorce battle with his ex-wife, Ornane Seavey. I don't know if I'm saying that name right. Seavey and Collins divorced in a very ugly divorce in 2016. It cost Phil $48 million, but he thought they had reconciled. Turned out she's been seeing another guy the whole time. Phil's not having it. And her and the other dude were living in Phil Collins's $41 million Miami mansion. There apparently were guns involved because, of course, Florida. Collins called the police saying his house was hijacked by an armed gunman. And Savici's not having it. And she is selling his gold albums, Jennifer, for $100 a pop. All right, wow. Go.
Wow, like I don't even know what to say to this. This is so Florida. It's almost cliche. Wow, $100 a pop. Like where, on eBay? I mean, that's kind of interesting.
Some auction house. It's I don't have it in the notes in the thing, but it's some auction house.
That would be like the epitome of spite right there. That is like the like example of spite. Oh, we're getting divorced. This is crazy. So I'm going to sell your gold records for $100 just to get back at you. I don't know. There's so much about this. Like, it's like I said, it's just that whole story just speaks Florida.
And you'll be in my heart.
Oh.
Yes, you'll be in my... Okay, enough of that. All right, Jennifer, I think we can flip it over to you in story number 4.
All right. So Barbarella quits the internet, and by Barbarella, I mean Pamela Anderson has decided that she is quitting social media. 2 days ago, I believe, or maybe yesterday, she wrote, quote, "This will be my last post on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. I've never been interested in social media, and now that I'm settled into the life, I'm generally inspired by reading and being in nature. I am free." Now, Pamela Anderson recently married her bodyguard. I think it was over the weekend, and was connected earlier to Julian Assange. She does regular interviews on Fox News and suggested that big tech companies want the masses to be distracted by their services so that they make money and have control over your brain. She concluded her post with various hashtags, including freedom, intimacy, and human connection. Your turn.
Start the timer. She's an interesting person for me. She's always been an interesting person for me, and not because of her augmentation. She is this individual where I will feel very sorry for, because there's something going on in her life, and then 15 or 20 seconds later, I'll read some other story about her, and I'm just like, oh, for the love of God. And that's kind of been that up and down. I mean, of course, all of her stuff with Tommy Lee. I personally do not think she is taking a permanent vacation from social media. We have seen so many people. I mean, I know people in my own circle have said they're taking a social media vacation. I'm done. And then, 6 months later, they pop back up again. So I'm not fully convinced, Jennifer, that she is going away. That's my take on it.
Me either. I think we're about out of time.
We are. I caught it right at the thing. I'm seeing your feedback on the buzzer. We will change the sound effect. People don't like the buzzer.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it's interesting feedback. All right. So with that, we're going to go to story number 5. Story number 5, pioneering AIDS researcher and Dr. Joseph Sonnabend died this week. Sonnabend died in London at the age of 88. He first noticed a strange pattern of illnesses and deaths in the 1970s at his private sexual health clinic he ran for gay men in Greenwich Village. Sonnabend originally came from South Africa, then went to London, then went to New York. He sounded the alarm on AIDS, although it wasn't called that at that time, as far back as 1979, and he said nobody would listen to him. In 1983, he co-founded the AIDS Medical Foundation and later to become the American Foundation for AIDS Research. And the same year, he helped write the first ever safe sex manual for gay men, How to Have Safe Sex in an Epidemic, One Approach. Dr. Sonnabend died on Monday, age 88. Ooh, right on the mark.
Yeah, so I mean, there's so much like you could say about how much he influenced what we know today about AIDS and HIV. So I think this is a kind of a it's not a devastating loss. He lived a great long life, but he should really be remembered for those massive contributions. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say on this. It's kind of sad, but he made some really positive contributions to what we know today and advanced our understanding of that. And so for that, I think we should celebrate him.
I believe also that he is somebody who should be celebrated for his contributions. He lived a long life. There was nothing in the story also, just because of his age and the South African connection, there was nothing in the story to say this was COVID related. So, but it is a loss. So, and our minute is up. So Jennifer, it is back to you.
Okay. Unless, I don't know, this is not great news. Lawmakers in 14 states have proposed anti-LGBTQ bills, many of which target trans youth. So the states where anti-LGBTQ bills have been proposed in 2021 are Alabama, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, New Hampshire, North Dakota, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Virginia, and Utah. And while many people, including the American Civil Liberties Union and others, don't think that these laws will pass, what they do is they're really concerned about two particular programs, especially in Montana, one that bans trans students from playing school sports, and another that would ban trans kids from receiving gender-affirming health care. Both bills have passed in the Montana House and will soon reach the Senate, which is highly problematic. And like I said, activists and advocates don't think these laws will actually get passed and enacted. But, the kind of fear that they're instilling in trans youth is extremely problematic.
Yes, this is one of these things that it just makes me go, yuck, Jennifer, like gross. I've talked many times on the air. I just don't get it. And I can't even say it's about my upbringing. My father was unbelievably racist. He was a liberal, but he was wickedly racist. My mother could be unintentionally racist, and me and my siblings, we kind of just like, oh man, but it's unintentional. It's one of those, she doesn't know better at 90 years old. And it's not going to change. And I love my mom, and I don't want people, hey, your mom. No, but I don't understand this. I don't understand why we just can't have equal, like, what do we care what's in someone's pants or how they identify that stuff or what goes on in their friggin' bedroom between two consenting adults? I don't get it.
Sorry, I was looking up something. No, I don't quite get it either. And this whole kind of like, we need to just start dismantling more than we already have. But there's so many people, especially of an older generation, that really want to keep these gender stereotypes and gender roles in place. And there's just really no space for them anymore. And I don't understand why this is consistently a battle. I fully expect biblical arguments to come out of this soon, even though, we're separation of church and state. They never seem to escape us.
All right, so we're going to go on to story number 7. And story number 7 brings us to Portland, Oregon. This is going to be a video segment with this one, and this is a very hard video to watch. You've been warned. Brian Miller is facing multiple charges with hate crime tags in Portland, Oregon after berating and attacking an Afghani store clerk on Tuesday. We have a video of the incident. Again, a warning. This is really hard to watch.
Is that how we do things in America, Afghan? Al-Qaeda? Osama?
1440 Southeast Division.
You put it on YouTube, you can tell them what America's
My name
done
is Abdul
with you unholy
ABDUL.
immigrants. And I'll fucking shoot you in the back.
Is this
I got
right? This? Oh my God! Where is police? Where is police? He came to me. He came.
Really hard to watch. He was uninjured in that attack. Jennifer, unpack it for us.
Yeah, so I actually, when you sent me that video earlier today, I was at the barn where my horse is with my mom, and she was like, oh my God, what are you watching? Where do you get this stuff? And so I was explaining to her, and it's just so much of this, what we continue to see from what appears to be, from my understanding, this white man who's espousing this really heavily racist rhetoric and sense of entitlement because he's angry about something, and thinks that for some reason he is exempt from any kind of consequences for these actions. So it was extremely alarming, extremely troubling. You could tell the man that was experiencing this, or the person, was starting to get more concerned as the video goes on, because the actual video itself is about 4 minutes. So yeah, I just, I don't know.
Gonna call time.
I don't know what
and we're gonna take you over to story number 8. Oh, Gab, what the heck just happened?
I don't know.
There, you get bonus time. I restarted the clock for you for story 8.
All right, so we have. Here, what are we doing? Can I start now?
Yes, go.
Okay, so we have a growing field of mayor candidates for Seattle, including homeless advocate Colleen Echo Hawk. Echo Hawk has served as a homelessness and housing advocate as part of her role with the Chief Seattle Club, with a focus on providing aid to the city's Native American community. And in 2019, Seattle Magazine named her one of the city's most influential people on a list that included Microsoft CEO Brad Smith, Pramila Jayapal, Iver's president Bob Donegan, and Visit Seattle CEO Tom Norwalk, among others. She also serves on the Community Police Commission and as a board member for the Downtown Seattle Association, and founded the Coalition to End Urban Native Homelessness, which, if people don't know, there is actually a very large population of homeless Native people in Seattle. So Echo Hawk joins a relatively small early field of mayoral candidates, which includes urbanist architect Andrew Grant Houston and affordable housing developer Lance Randall. But I think this is a really promising potential candidate for mayor.
We'd let you go over a few seconds because I could tell you were wrapping it up. We haven't done this before. We didn't rehearse it or anything. So if we only have one broken macro button, I'm going to be thrilled. I'm excited for this. Again, this is something, it's indigenous. Her track record in homeless advocacy is absolutely amazing. I'm going to let the timer run about 45 seconds. I didn't turn it on for about the first 15. She has a great track record in that. She comes across as somebody to me that is going to understand the problems. I don't know if she can untangle the bureaucracy that is contributing to those problems. Jennifer, I've said to you in private, and I've said on air here, I don't know why anybody would want to be mayor of Seattle. But we could certainly do worse than Ms. Echo Hawk as somebody to try to point this city in a better direction, because Mayor Durkin just hasn't delivered a one darn thing she said she was going to deliver.
My septum ring is being a pain. Yeah, no, I agree. And to have somebody that is very committed already to the cause of helping the unhomed and recognizes just how much that impacts multiple communities, including Native peoples, is a huge thing.
All right. I'm going to go to story number 9, and we're going to find out if we have more than one broken macro when I run this story. So let's see what happens. Nope, we just have, right now it's just number 8's broken. This is mine of the my last story for tonight. It brings us back to Portland and the bizarro story, Jennifer, and the strange saga of Mayor Ted Wheeler and Lori Carey Cadino accosted Wheeler over the weekend, and the mayor ended up pepper spraying the personal injury attorney. It was the battle between the lumber baron and the cow baron. I mean, this is like so Oregon Trail 1800s. Today, Cadno made a statement that said, "I am remorseful for my decision to confront Mayor Wheeler on Sunday, January 24th, and I'm sorry he felt the need to use pepper spray." Wheeler said after receiving the statement, "I now consider this matter closed."
So we have one story that's like just screams Florida, and then one story that just screams Oregon. I've got no words for this, really. Like, honestly, I don't know. Help me out here, because I've got no words. This is insane.
Okay, so if you have no words, we'll restart the timer, and you can go ahead and do story 10.
Yeah, that was a lot. So I don't know how many people have heard about this, but this story is absolutely insane. So this Texas police chief was exposed on Facebook for having 2 mistresses. These weren't actually mistresses. These were women he was trying to marry while already married and having a couple other girlfriends. His name is Jason Collier, and he was the chief of the Stinnett Police Department. He's since deleted Facebook, commemorating his anniversary with his wife, Opal, who was cheating on with multiple women. And there's the woman that called him out. There's actually a post. She actually posted a picture of their engagement. And so then these other women got on and were like, hey, one's like, I'm engaged to him too. She starts sharing screenshots. Another woman comes on there.
And that's the buzzer.
It's insane. The story is insane. I'm just going to say this. This is not that uncommon. And if you talk to your female friends, I mean, it might not be to this degree, but this happens quite a bit.
I just remember like Tiger Woods. Like, I'm going to go Tiger Woods. I'm going to go Tiger Woods on this one. I like remember right when it all came out and how many people that Tiger Woods was seeing on the down low. And I'm like, how did you keep this all straight in your head? Where did the energy come from? It's like,
Yeah. And this guy had so many elaborate lies going on. And then so finally, when the woman he was most recently engaged to caught on, he was like, oh, I'm going through some personal things and I don't think I can see you anymore. Well, yeah, because you're married and like engaged to somebody else and have 2 other girlfriends. How do you have time?
Where's Joey Greco when you need him?
Oh, man.
And that's it. We survived the Malcontented Minutes. Malcontents, let us know what you think in the comments. What we could do different, or if you like this, if you're like, no, you don't like it. We are doing in-depth stories too. We have some in-depth stories. But there's so much we want to cover. We were like, this is a way we could cover stuff and also sprinkle in some things that trying to bring a little bit of levity, at least into some of the stories we cover, because we cover a lot of heavy topics here. Jennifer, we're going to do a little pause for the cause, and then we'll go ahead and jump into the next story.
Okay.
Black Coffee is a hub for communities and a hub for meeting people, making friends, and understanding.
What Black Coffee is to me is a place to actually call home. a place where Black youth will feel welcomed, where Black families will come and feel like they're at home.
What we're trying to build is more than just coffee. Community is something that we do naturally. We know who's in the community, we know what the deficits are, and we're trying to fix that. We want to bring people together.
My hope is that the phrase grounded in excellence shows up everywhere and that it becomes a movement.
I'm looking forward to hanging out at Black Coffee with my friends and feeling safe.
Black coffee to me means opportunity for people like me and my other friends and family to come here and do homework safely and hang out and stuff like that.
That is happening. It is happening.
Black Coffee is located on Highway 99 in Shoreline, Washington. They have amazing coffee, and they have amazing merch, and they have potato scones. I will continue to get the potato scones over there.
I know I'm going to have to go get one for my son just so he can tell me how wonderful they are because I can't eat them.
They're so... Renee is a fan also. Renee tried them on my recommendation, and Renee was like, damn. So I'm just saying.